International English Language Testing System. My name is Asad Yaqub and I am going to give you some quick guidelines and some magical tips to go through IELTS successfully. Let's take a start with IELTS listening module. Let me tell you one thing very clearly. I'm not going to explain that IELTS listening has got 4 modules. There are 40 questions, 30 minutes time and all that stuff. You know this already. The purpose of this video is to provide you some tips which are out of the way and which are really magical and which are actually going to help you in your actual IELTS test. So let's take a start. As far as IELTS listening module is concerned, this is the first module out of the 4 and listening test continues for around 30 minutes. Now remember, the most important thing in IELTS listening is your ability to understand a variety of accents of English language, because in IELTS listening especially there's going to be a variety of accents. It can be British English, it can be American English, it can be Australian, Canadian, African, or it can also be a non-native accent of English language. You're not going to be afraid of that, okay? You would say, well, in the beginning of the video you are trying to scare us. I'm not trying to scare you, but I'm going to tell you the facts about IELTS listening. Now what you need to do, this is very simple, and let me tell you one more thing. If you take IELTS listening seriously, if you work harder on IELTS listening as compared to other modules, you can end up getting a very good band score in listening. Remember, in IELTS listening module, you can get a very good band score, and this band score is going to increase your overall IELTS band score. As far as listening is concerned, in listening, you don't need grammar. You don't need vocabulary, you don't need punctuation, you don't need all these things. All you need is ability to understand English, ability to read and understand the questions, and ability to find answers from the audio. Now remember, as I told you, in IELTS we've got a variety of accents, but keep in mind one thing, English language is going to be same. For example, if there is a sentence, I want to drink a glass of water. If they're going to give this sentence to someone from England, he would say, I want to drink a glass of water. And if they're going to give this sentence to someone from America, the person will say, I want to drink a glass of water. Like that. So they've got their own style of saying it, but the language is going to be standard English language. It doesn't mean if it is American English, there are going to be some American slangs in it. It doesn't mean if it is British English, there would be British idioms in it and all that stuff. Language is going to be standard international English because it is International English Language Testing System. It is not British English Language Testing System. It is not American English Language Testing System. So it's all going to be standard. Now remember, in the beginning of each section, as I told you, there will be 4 sections in IELTS and the level of difficulty will increase. Section 1 is going to be the easiest one, and section 4 is going to be the toughest one. It's going to be very hard. Sometimes my students complain section 4 flies over their head. Sometimes the height is too much and it flies beyond their limits and beyond their understanding. But anyways, it cannot be so for you if you are going to follow my tips, if you are going to follow my instructions. Everything is going to be fantastic for you, okay? So let's come back to the point. As I told you, there are 4 sections in IELTS listening. Section 1 is simple. Before each section, they are going to give you almost half a minute to read the questions, and this half-minute time should be spent wisely. Remember, audios will be played once only. They are not going to play the audios 2 times or so as sometimes they do in TOEFL. In IELTS, all the audios will be played once only. So before each section, they are going to give you some time to read the questions, and all you need to do, you need to read the questions very carefully. Now here I'm going to give you some tips. If you're going to follow my tips, rather instead of following my tips, all you need to do, you need to apply my tips when you are taking any practice IELTS test or when you are taking any mock IELTS test. Apply these tips, take the test with my tips, and then you will see you'll be getting better in IELTS listening. Your result is going to improve. All right, so when you read the questions, read the question carefully, and after reading the question, ask yourself a question. What is this question about? Number 1. Number 2, you need to guess what can be the answer to this question. Is it going to be the name of a person? Is it going to be currency? Is it going to be passport number? Is it going to be flight number? Now listen, for example, if you know the question is about passport number and in the audio they tell you the passport number, you will jot it down. And if you don't understand the question, because you know sometimes the students, they only read the questions. For example, they say you now have half a minute to read questions 1 to 5. Now commonly the students go through all the questions without any clear understanding. All you need to do, read one question, ask yourself a question, what this question is about and what can be the answer of this question. The first thing. Second, in IELTS listening, some information is given, some information is missing. Now what you guys need to do, you need to connect given information with missing information. If you follow given information, most definitely you will find missing information. Now for example, if I know 3 things and I have to find the 4th thing, I can easily do that if I follow the 3 things. By this I mean, when the audio starts, sometimes what do the students do? When the audio starts, they put their pen on question number 1. Now before question number 1, some information is already given, but they are waiting. Okay, when the answer is gonna come, we are going to jot it down. All you need to do, you need to first go on with the audio. If before question 1 some information is given, keep track with it. Now in the audio, if they're talking about first thing, all right, you see, all right, this is the first thing. In the audio, if they talk about second thing, you know, okay, now they're talking about it. And the third thing is the question. So if you keep track of the given information along with the audio, you will be able to find the answer, you will be able to locate the answer, you will be able to write the answer. Don't do this after question number 1, you put your pen on question number 2 and now I'm waiting for the answer is gonna come. This will never happen. You will wait for the answer will come and go and you'll be still waiting. Don't do that, okay? Go on, and given information is as important as missing information. I mean, whenever we go for fishing, if you ever been to fishing, I don't know about that. Whenever we go for fishing, we hook a small fish to hook a big fish. Right? We have the fishing hook, we put a small fish and then we can get the big fish with that. So this given information is like the bait. It is just like, you know, the small fish. With the help of this, you can catch the big fish. And if you don't understand the given information, if you don't understand the questions, let me tell you, even if you have very good listening skill, the answers will come and go and you will not be able to find it. In the middle of section 1 and 2 and even section 3, they will give you some more time to read ahead. For example, they will say for section 1, after 5 or 6 questions, you will say you now have some time to look at questions 6 to 10. Then you can read ahead, okay? And one more thing, sometimes, you know, out of panic and confusion, you have half-minute time, but you read all the questions in 10 seconds and then you start looking here and there what others are doing, what that guy is doing, what she's doing there and all that stuff. You don't have to do this. Spend equal amount of time to read all the questions. It's not that in a hurry you read all the questions without understanding and then afterwards you are waiting why their audio is not starting. What's wrong with the audio system? There is nothing wrong. They have a foolproof system over there. All you need to do, you need to manage your time, read the questions carefully, and you should not slow yourselves down as well. It's not that you read only 2 questions and they start the audio. So you need to manage your time. At the end of each section, they are going to give you some time to check your answers. Now, if there is anything to check, if you think you did not write the complete word, if you think there is a spelling mistake, and in IELTS listening, even if there is a spelling mistake on the question paper, it doesn't matter. Because at the end, you're going to transfer all these answers from the question paper to the answer sheet. And remember, the examiner will only have the answer sheet. Your question paper will go to the dustbin. They're not going to read it at all. They will only read the answer sheet. So if there is any mistake on the question paper, you can cross it, you can rewrite, you can make a duck or sparrow as well. There is no problem because they're not going to read the question paper. The examiner will only check the answer sheet, and this is where you need to be very, very careful. Anyways, at the end of each section, they are going to give you some time to check your answers. Now here, if you think there is something to check, do it. Otherwise, jump to section number 2. If you think you've got all that time and you don't need enough time to check your answers, you can jump to section 2, and before the audio starts and they say section 2, you can start reading the questions. Remember one thing, your understanding of the questions, your understanding of the given information is going to make sure that you're going to find the answers. If you don't understand the questions, if you don't understand the given information, you cannot find all the answers. Now, you can read the questions and then section 2 will start. You can go on, follow the track of the audio with the help of given information, and automatically you will get to know now the speaker in the audio has reached this very point, and you can easily locate the answer in the audio and then you can write it down. In section 2, they are going to give you more time in the middle of the section to read the questions ahead, like it can be from questions 16 to 20, and then at the end of section 2 they will say you now have some time to check your answers. Now if there is anything you want to check it. Otherwise, you can move on to section 3, because section 3 is gonna be the tough one, right? The level of difficulty increases. Section 1, section 2, section 3, and section 4. So you can read and understand the question. Then they will come to it. They will say section 3. You now have some time to look at questions 21 to 26. So you can read all the questions, and remember, there are 8 question types, and for each question type you need different skills, you need different techniques, you need different tips to work out the details. In the premium mod of this video, you can find those tips as well, which are going to enable you to deal with the questions as per the question type. But in this video, we are going to give you the general information about the 4 sections of IELTS listening, but our premium mod, it clarifies all the question types with details. Anyways, then you will move on to section 4, and section 4 will start. Now remember, in the beginning of section 4, they are going to give you almost 40-second time, and the question type in section 4, at times it is multiple choice, which is a little difficult in listening. So they can be multiple choice, they can be matching, they can be fill in the blanks, but all you need to do, you need to understand the questions well, because in section 4, now in all these 4 sections, they have different types and they test your different abilities. In section 4, they test your ability to understand overall argument. I mean, if there is a discussion going on, what is the outcome of the discussion? What is it that they want to say in that discussion, or what is the result of the discussion? Your understanding to that will be checked. And in section 4, level of difficulty will be the toughest one. There will be one speaker, it's going to be one lecture. The speed of the lecture is going to be faster than section 1, 2 and 3. So you need to prepare very, very well for section 4. Throughout your IELTS listening, remember one thing: you have to be active. If you're going to be lazy, if there are going to be some lapses, sometimes we lose understanding, we lose concentration. If anything is going to happen like that, it will cost you missing 1 or 2 questions. So all you need to do, you need to be very active throughout your IELTS listening test. Concentrate. In the beginning, there might be some panic, but as the audio goes ahead, your ears are going to be tuned in and you will understand better. There is another technique of understanding IELTS listening that is called visualization. Try to visualize whatever the dialogue is, especially in section 1 and section 2. They're going to tell you, you're going to listen to a conversation between a house renting agency and a student. Now you can imagine, it's a conversation between a house renting agency, means a property dealer, and a student. So it means student wants to get a house and the property dealer is going to give a house. Then they're going to talk about the rooms, about facilities, about the rent and all these things. So you can visualize that this is the topic. This talk is going to have these type of things in it. If they say, you're going to listen to a conversation between a baggage clerk and a passenger who has lost the bag. Now you can see, okay, one passenger has lost the bag. There is one baggage clerk. Now the person who has lost the baggage will give the detail of the bag, and the person who's going to note down the details, he will take the details, and this conversation will go on. So your visualization is going to help you understand the situation. Once you understand the situation, you will find the answers, and after finding each answer, you will feel confident, you will feel happy, and then at the end you will get a very good bench score in IELTS listening. I thank you very much for watching this video. If you want to learn more, we have the premium mod. In the premium mod, we will explain listening, we will give you more tips about listening, and we are going to tell you how to deal with 8 or 10 question types of IELTS in detail. Thank you very much. Wish you all the best. Bye-bye.